Welcome everybody to our session today with Bionovo. I'm Nick Bishop, one of the biotech analysts at Cowen. So welcome. We're pleased to have with us today Isaac Cohen, the company's chairman and CEO. Tell us more about some of the work that Bionovo has been doing in women's health, developing natural products, in particular Minerva, which is scheduled to enter phase 3 this year. So please, Isaac.
Hi, thanks for coming. And I would like to actually do it quickly so we have more time for Q&A. There are questions. So Bionovo is really a drug discovery and development company, all the way from identifying compounds and targets and validating those targets. And the unique aspect of it is that we're really taking advantage of two key pieces of knowledge that the company founders and since then the company at large has, which are the use of botanicals that have been used historically, mainly in traditional Chinese medicine, that we are testing under modern targets that have been discovered and developed at Bionovo or with our scientific advisory board. And those are to address issues in women's health. And the most important element to that is that there really has not been any development in women's health for about 30, 40 years. That is because most people focus on estrogens and progesterones, the natural hormones, as a treatment for practically everything. And so there has not been really any targeted approach to really address issues of women's health for quite a while. And just to give you an idea, only one of the major pharmaceuticals nowadays has women's health as part of their portfolio development, and that is why it's very difficult to really address those companies because it's not part of their major matrix for business development. So what do we do and why do we think that Bionovo is really an exciting opportunity? Number one is women at large use a little over 60% of drugs, and women at large tend to use medicine in general more than men, especially as they grow older. We saw an opportunity in the market of menopausal hot flashes early on, mainly because we understood that estrogens will have a problem, especially in relation to cancer development. And as you probably all know, since 2002, the Women's Health Initiative really proved the point that estrogens are not very safe if you take them over a long duration. 75 to 80% of women encounter menopausal hot flashes. About 20 to 25% of them encounter severe symptoms, and those are identified or actually defined by the fact that they have 7 or more moderate to severe hot flashes, and they seem to have with that a lot of other quality of life aspects that are really not allowing them to have a good quality of life during that menopausal transition. The symptoms tend to last 4 years, and they include not only the hot flashes, but also night sweats, nighttime awakening, insomnia, depression, mood swings, vaginal dryness, etc., etc. And those are the early signs of menopausal transition. Soon after, women that are going through the menopausal transition tend to have a dramatically increased risk for breast cancer, other cancers, cardiovascular diseases, etc. And they pretty much even out where they were healthier in their 40s, they're as unhealthy as men in their 50s and going onwards. More so, as they grow older over their 60s, they tend to have dramatically more osteoporosis. About 80% of osteoporosis is in women. 2/3 of Alzheimer's and dementia are in women, and they tend to have more strokes. So it's interesting that the menopausal transition, which is unique to only women and two other primates, is a sign of degrading health. And what happens in the menopause is there is a dramatic decline with estrogen, and that's why people thought that estrogen replacement is a very important way to keep women healthy. Unfortunately, I would like to say that it's very difficult to give rocket fuel to a clunker. So it's most likely not beneficial to give the same hormone that is then naturally in decline, and what you have to do is have a much milder and more targeted way to really view how to replace the estrogen. And that's what we tried to do by understanding the biology of estrogen and how it's really affecting the body. We were looking at a way that we have potential to really address that with much greater safety. So the major advance that occurred in this field is in 1996, a second estrogen receptor was discovered, and as we now believe, the work of estrogen in the body, the work of the hormone in the body, is really mediated by one of the two receptors, estrogen receptor alpha or beta. When you target the estrogen receptor alpha, is when you get the, am I doing something wrong? So when you target the estrogen receptor alpha is when you get the increased risk with the cancer and the clotting event. With the cancer is because estrogen working on alpha causes cell proliferation and tumor formation, and the alpha is the only receptor that is in the liver, and all the clotting factors are really manufactured by the interaction with the alpha. So a beta-selective drug will or does not increase cell proliferation and tumor formation, and will not interact with liver cells because it's not there, and will not cause the clotting event. So we targeted our drug to the beta, and interestingly, we found that a combination of compounds are more beneficial because of their tissue selectivity to find a way in which you will get the positive effect of treating the hot flashes, as well as not addressing the negative effect, which is really the risk of cancer and clotting events, which result also in the strokes and cardiovascular effects. So to date, we've had a phase 2 clinical study with positive results, statistically significant reduction in hot flashes, very little side effects, actually only one single not significant side effect, no changes in uterine effects, which are really the first signal for ill effects from estrogen, and we are ready to go to phase 3. The competitive landscape is such that you still have estrogens on the market. They have 7 warnings in a black box, which include, like I said, the uterine cancer, breast cancer, stroke, etc. There's a significant risk. The more you use estrogen, the greater the risk. So it's a linear increase in the risk of using estrogen. And estrogens have a very good effect on hot flashes. So when you give the higher doses of estrogen, it's between 70 and 80% reduction in the moderate to severe hot flashes. When you give the lower doses, it's about 60% reduction in the moderate to severe hot flashes. The FDA currently requests that women use the lowest efficacious dose for the shortest duration. They don't really define what is a lower efficacious dose, and they don't really define what is the shortest duration. Naturally, women have the symptoms for 4 years, and when they really want to take estrogen, they tend to have severe symptoms And what we find from physicians, and this was published in JAMA just about 2 months ago, that unfortunately women take higher doses because the lower doses are not sufficient for them. Wyeth that said about 70% of this market saw a dramatic decline in the use of estrogens and wanted to develop another drug. They took Prestige, which is a metabolite of Effexor. They tested it for this indication. It's an SNRI, and it had 64% reduction in the second lowest dose that they tested. They tested 4 doses. Unfortunately for them, there were a lot of side effects, and the most significant ones were the cardiovascular effects, for which the FDA required them to go back and do another safety study before approval. The other drug is developed by Depomed, Sarada. It's really a gabapentin in a slow-release form. It did not improve the pharmacodynamics. It improved the pharmacokinetics, so you don't have to take it 3 times a day. You take it twice a day, but you have to use the same dose of 1,800 milligrams a day, which is a fairly high dose of this drug. They had a good clinical effect, 67% reduction. Unfortunately for them, the placebo effect was too high, and they did not reach statistical significance, so they have to do a third phase 3 to see if they reach a statistical significance. The problem with that drug is really the dizziness somnolence that you get from using this drug, so much so that it's really risky to drive and carry out your daily activities at that dose. Imagine if you have to take it for 4 years. It's unlikely that women will tolerate it well. More so, in those 3-month studies, is significant weight gain, which already occurs in the menopausal transition, which is a sign for some of the risks that are associated with menopause, as I described, like the metabolic syndrome, etc., and the diabetes risk that occurs in menopause that women do not like to have the sense that may be increased by taking the drug for hot flashes. And then the other drug that is being developed that is going into phase 3 is our drug, Minerva. It had 62% reduction in the moderate to severe hot flashes in the phase 2. And the only side effect that we observed was loose stools, which was minimal. It was 12% in the treatment group versus 3% in the placebo, and it was a single episode. It's not like that women encountered loose stools on a daily basis. It was a single episode, so we had to record it. So we went with these results and asked physicians who are prescribing to menopausal women whether they would use estrogen or Minerva based on this profile, 62% reduction in loose bowels versus 60 to 80% reduction with all those side effects of estrogen. And 76% of them stated that Minerva will be their first-line therapy. And it was 93% when we asked them whether they will use Minerva over the SSRIs and SNRIs.